Hey, Gator fans, Allie Peak here with Gator great Johnny Townsend. You know, any excuse to have a specialist on here, I am all about it. And Dan Morgan from Morgan and Morgan. Guys, thanks for coming on with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
It's good to see
Yeah, we
y'all.
appreciate you having us.
Okay, so the most exciting thing ever happened on Monday night. I don't know where either one of you watched this, if you were there. I was there.
There we
Um,
go.
uh, let's talk a little bit about it. It's been a long time since Gainesville has brought a title home. How pumped were you guys?
Oh, it felt good. It definitely felt good. It was back to the glory days of being on top and feeling of feeling the supremacy of being a Gator. Back in the rightful place, on top of the nation. But no, definitely, it was a good feeling to see the boys clicking on all cylinders. The whole tournament. The cardiac Gators coming back time and time again. But no, it was an awesome feeling. Hopefully, it's just a sign of good things to come.
Johnny, we talked a little bit before we came on air here, and this team kind of made us all feel a little bit like we were a part of it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're a part of it, you love it. If you're not, you hate us. I think we're the first team to win three in basketball, three in football, which is unbelievable. I think, when I was there, I'm sure it was the same when y'all were too. We were the everything school. We won their all sports trophy every year for national championships, SEC championships. And yeah, I was telling you before this, that was the first time as a spectator I was emotional about a game and felt like I was a part of it. We were with the Central Florida Gator Club at a venue in Orlando, and the whole place was packed out and cheering the whole time. And man, it was fun.
I've talked to several different people the last couple of days, and I think the kind of underlying feeling is that everybody's a little bit surprised at how emotional this actually is for all of us, for those of us that bleed orange and blue. And, it might be because it's been such a long drought, but this team was just so fun to cheer for, too. I feel like in the era that we're in sports, there's a lot of, me, right? And this team wasn't me at all. It was so team centered, so team first. And I think that kind of makes it special. And Dan, you've been really involved in the NIL space. Morgan and Morgan has been on the forefront since the beginning. What kind of role do you think NIL plays in championships like this?
It's definitely important now, especially how the landscape's changing with the rev share, and there's kind of like an unofficial salary cap now where you can actually go and build your roster. If you look at the Gators, Walter Clayton was a stud at Iona. Learned under Rick Pitino and transferred in, was able to take what he learned, and we were able to make the money work and find the right guy to fit our team. And that's really what it comes down to now, is building your roster and knowing what type of money you have to go get the type of player that performs at a mid-major. You can bring them to a stage like the SEC to perform. But it's always going to be there's going to be smaller schools that's going to be tough to perform with. I already heard the Gators basketball team has upped the ante for their NIL dollars next year. The Victorias, I think pledged $1 million. Other donors are pouring the dollars in too. Because once you get to the top, you want to stay on top, and then you realize how much it costs now, and it's all legal. That LSU's going to go put a $10 million basketball team together. Well, we got to match that somehow, but I think a lot of it goes to Todd Golden too, to know how to recruit the players for the right system, to build around his core team, to bring in the right fit and mesh. And hopefully, that's what we can keep doing. I think a lot of these guys hopefully come back. You can make more money now being on the Gators than you can if you get drafted in the second round. So I think that's definitely, it's going to help the Gators stay on top as well.
Which is so wild to think about. And, something that you said was, now that we're on top is staying on top. And, Urban Meyer used to always say that getting to the mountaintop wasn't the difficult part. It was staying on top of the mountain. And I think, NIL makes that even more complicated. Does the winning make you, as somebody who's really been involved, want to do even more?
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's the first thing you want to look at. It is if you're going to put your brand, your name next to another brand name, you want to make sure that brand name is something you're proud of. You don't want to be pouring your money into a team that's not making bowls, and going, 4-10, and it's miserable. You want the team that has a spotlight, that has the name. We just did a deal tied into DJ Lagway's charity that Johnny helped put that together too. That's something you want to put side by side. And now the Gators basketball's winning. It's like, yeah, Morgan has no problem to help out with the Victoria's Fund and get something done there. The programs we've always kind of worked with are those historic ones too. We've done stuff with Kentucky, we've done stuff with Michigan, which as a Gator fan always pains me to do. But it's marketing. But now it's good that, hey, the Gators are on top. Let's pour some dollars into this and take advantage of it.
You mentioned the DJ Lagway Foundation, which is something I wanted to ask both of you guys about because you were involved so heavily in the kickoff. Tell me, Dan, tell me from your end how you guys ended up getting involved in the foundation. And then, Johnny, you can tell me what kind of plans that they have moving forward for the future and what you really think he can accomplish. He's such a unique guy.
Yeah, so Johnny kind of helped dot connect there. There was the kickoff event. We had in the past too had tried to do some stuff with DJ around his announcements of coming to Florida. There's a wonky law in Florida with law firms doing NIL contributions. You can't be a celebrity endorser for a law firm. You can't pay him to be an endorser unless there's a charity component tied to it. So I kind of told everyone, have your tentacles ready. Anytime DJ has a charity or something ready to go, we want to be in the driver's seat to put our name next to it. And then the opportunity came up. They said he was kicking it off. They was kind of taking Johnny's blueprint of what he's done with his charity and trying to replicate it with his name. So it was an easy lift for us to write a check and be there in Gainesville and have a great time. And the event was awesome.
Johnny, from your end, what does the future hold for the DJ Lagway Foundation?
I think the way he's united a fan base on the field, he's going to unite an entirely different community off of it. He's been one of those guys that, although he's young, he's had a lot of success, and he's kind of sensed that obligation that his platform comes with, a chance to do more with it. So he's now finding ways to connect with people like Dan and great groups around the university that are alumni that see the vision for what he wants to do off the field. And he partnered with UF Health, which is right there in town, and their umbrella pretty much overarches across a lot of different buckets of charity, and he's got plans to do all sorts of things in the community.
Now you started, Dan mentioned how it's, kind of following your blueprint. You started the Johnny Townsend Foundation, which, has hosted the official Florida Gator alumni tailgate for years now. At this point, I've looked back at pictures of my girls at this tailgate, and they were really small when we started coming up. And it's presented by Morgan and Morgan. Tell me a little bit about the plans for Saturday, because obviously the orange and blue game is Saturday, so the tailgate will be then. And what can fans expect?
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome one. I'll tell you what, the NIL landscape has changed so much. I launched my charity my senior year at Florida in 2017, and I wasn't even allowed to do any fundraisers. They said, I was tying my likeness to some sort of monetary benefit, even though it wasn't for myself, and couldn't raise a penny for pediatric cancer patients at the time. But now the floodgates are open, and players can do it. But this Saturday it's a legacy event, honestly. This is our fourth year doing it. We are right on the north lawn of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, which is really fun. So we can see the players walk through Gator Walk, and we can follow them right into the stadium when the tailgate ends. But it's the official Florida Gator football alumni event. We had over 100 former players last year, from the likes of Coach Steve Spurrier, the Pouncey brothers. I always say Tommy Townsend. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's my little brother, but Tommy Townsend's out there. And what's cool is that it's presented by Morgan and Morgan, which is awesome. My dad has known the Morgans since college. They go way back, and I've known Dan and the brothers for a long time as well. So, we've truly built a true community out there.
That was one of the very first things. I don't know if you even remember the first time we met, but we went out to dinner, and you were still in high school because our dads have a good mutual friend. And that was one of the first things that your dad talked about, was how much he enjoyed John Morgan and how close they were. So this is such a full circle moment, truly, because that was, far too many years ago for me to count. I don't want to give away any of our ages here. John, you're younger than all the rest of us. But, I think that this is so important because there does need to be something for the former players to gather around every year. And I think that there was a long time where, my grandfather was a golden era Gator. They did it really well. My dad played in the 70s. They did it really well. And there's just been this kind of gap, I guess, where there hasn't been anything official for former players to get together, reminisce, have their kids get to know each other. And you have filled that void so well. And I think that, each year it continues to grow. But there's a way for fans to be involved too, which I think that's the coolest part. Everybody wants to be able to talk to their favorite former player, right? Whoever, we all have our different favorites, but they have a great chance of meeting them under your tent, right? How do they do that?
They do, and that's the best part about it. It is the direct merger between sport and charity. The event started as just a fundraiser on the North Lawn for UF Health, and to your point, we recognize that need to support the former players because they are the blood of the university. They help with recruiting. They're a big piece of everything around the program. So we now support all of them to come out and enjoy an open bar and all you can eat barbecue, and we got a live DJ up there, and it's really fun. So if you guys want to come check it out, I'd say the best way to find us is at johnnytownsendfoundation.com. Hit the events tab, and you will see the spring game tailgate with tickets live. So we'll see you there.
All right. And we'll absolutely link it in the description of this video as well, so people can go there that way. We'll put it out on our social media. But this is such a cool event. It's such a great way to meet Gators that you looked up to, that you rooted on. And for former player families, it's so important for us to get to see each other. And Dan, we really appreciate this sponsorship aspect of this. It couldn't happen without it. And you guys have done some really, really great work over the years.
We're trying, yeah. I mean, it's a great event. It's easy with Johnny. Like you said, him and my dad are pretty much family. I grew up with Johnny as well, and Tommy and Clay and the Townsend brothers. So it's a family firm. It's a family tailgate. The Gators a family nation. So, we're bringing it all in together under one great event. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
I love it so much. And after the tailgate is the spring game. Either one of you have anything you're looking for specifically on the field there?
I want some explosive plays, some deep passes and letting it rip. Some a good high scoring spree game is always fun, but some pick sixes to get the defense excited as well would be nice.
Yeah, I think so too. Johnny?
The offensive friendly games are always fun. We want to see the ball flying around. We want to see high scoring, but we got to talk special teams. We got a new punter, and it's my little cousin. We always come back to this. Florida's got a new punter, and my younger cousin Rocco. It's his last spring game in the Swamp, and he was an All-American and won the award for the best long snapper in the country. So you always got to watch those guys.
Yeah, special teams is my favorite. We gotta, we always gotta give love to the specialists. But you're right; it's kind of a new era in punting, right? And hopefully we picked a good one. I think we did, though. You got to see him up close and personal a few weeks ago, right?
Definitely. Yeah, he's got a strong leg. He's a real good player. He was out there at that, a punting camp that we do at the NFLPA every year in Tampa, which was a good time. But, looking at the roster as a whole, I mean, from the perspective of depth, we got a lot of great players not only coming back that, and then also came in through the portal. So I think we got some firepower, and hopefully we can see some guys play.
Do you think that there is pressure on the team because of how well they did finish last season? Now you couple in basketball, which, the university's got a taste of winning again, and the students are going to want more. Is that pressure, or is that a good thing?
If they can handle it, it's a good thing, but there is pressure. I mean, the expectation's so high for them now to come back and win this year. I think, as y'all know, our fan base, they're rabid. They're hardcore. They want to win. We've been there and we want to be back. So, hopefully the players can see, what was going on around campus just the last few days after the basketball championship, and know that will be 10 times if football brings it back too. So,
you've got to think 10 wins is entirely realistic this year, right? Dan, you're shaking your head. You think
for sure? Yeah, I think 10 wins, a playoff berth. Now with the new format, it really opens it up. So we're in the toughest conference where we can lose a few, 1, 2, and still be in the mix. But I mean, we have the best quarterback in the nation, in my opinion. Both skill wise and mentality and NFL ready. So as soon as you have that, you have the talent around them. I mean, the expectation is 10 plus wins and a playoff berth.
Johnny, you think so too?
If we're putting out predictions, I like a 10-win season. I mean, last year was a little tough looking at who we had to play. There were some injuries and things, but I really like how the Gators are positioned. If DJ can stay healthy, we'll make a run.
Defense is stacked.
Yeah.
The defense is stacked. And, you mentioned Lagway, and that I think is something that's a question mark for fans. He's not throwing this spring. And honestly, every person I've spoken to is not concerned about that long term. But how difficult is that to not have him develop chemistry with the younger wide receivers during the spring? Or is he's that good and it doesn't matter?
Well, from the perspective of dynamic, I mean, spring is always the time to, evaluate depth, see where, who mixes well with what other players and what schemes. And I wouldn't look at it as a setback by not having DJ full go for spring, but, he's had the chance to get out there and, at least kind of like visualize the offense with players. They've run some Skelly and some stuff on air. And so I think like, he's got a good feel for the offense. He's going to command it, and the younger players will fall in. So they'll have plenty of time this summer to get ready.
Does this mean you've gone out there for spring, or you just always have your ear to the ground and so you know what's going on?
I watch this show and I get all my inside info. I don't need to go to practice.
Perfect. Everybody watching at home, that's all you have to do is just continue to tune in.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I appreciate you. We definitely want all of our Gator fans to head out on Saturday. Such a great opportunity to hang out with your fellow Gators for a really good cause.
Awesome. We'll see you guys at the 4th annual Spring Game Tailgate. It's presented by Morgan & Morgan, benefiting UF Health, and it's the annual former Gator football alumni event. It's going to be a blast. Catch you on the North Lawn.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Johnny. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. For the Gators.